Look at the news today, and you will see an Argentine economy constantly on the brink of total collapse. But rewind a little over a century, and this nation was one of the 10 richest on the entire planet. That immense wealth started with geography. The country sits on a massive, highly fertile flatland known as the Pampas, providing vast acreage perfectly suited for raising cattle and harvesting wheat. When the refrigerated shipping container was invented in the late 1800s, Argentina could suddenly slaughter those cows, freeze the meat, and ship it across the Atlantic to feed the rapidly growing industrial cities of Europe. European money poured in so fast that by the 1910s, the average citizen here had a higher income than someone in France or Germany. European high society even adopted a popular phrase to describe anyone with ridiculous amounts of money. They were as rich as an Argentine. This flowchart illustrates the hidden danger in that roaring economy. Argentina relied entirely on selling simple primary goods, raw materials like meat and wheat, in exchange for importing expensive, complex manufactured items like heavy machinery. That fragile trade balance snapped in 1929. When the Great Depression hit, global stock markets crashed, and consumers in the US and Europe immediately lost the purchasing power to buy imported beef. Almost overnight, the prices for Latin American exports plummeted by 50 to 66%. Argentina's primary source of national income completely evaporated. Because the country had never built a domestic manufacturing industry to fall back on, the loss of foreign buyers triggered mass unemployment and threw the nation into sudden, deep poverty. In the 1940s, a military officer named Juan Perón took power with a popular mandate: isolate Argentina from the volatile global market and make the country completely self-sufficient. To achieve this, Perón aggressively taxed the agricultural sector, the one industry still making money, and redirected that cash to build heavily protected local manufacturing plants. He also used those agricultural taxes to fund expansive social welfare programs. He offered workers higher wages, paid vacations, and free healthcare, securing his status as a beloved populist hero. The math, however, did not work. The new factories were isolated from foreign competition and highly inefficient. Within a few short years, the government was burning through cash significantly faster than the nation could earn it. When the treasury ran dry, the state refused to cut social programs, keeping them in power. Instead, they took the desperate route and printed more paper money to cover the difference. This diagram maps out the economic loop that ruined the country. It starts when a government covers a deficit by printing unbacked currency. This dilutes the value of the money in circulation, triggering skyrocketing inflation throughout the 1950s. For decades, power violently flipped between military dictatorships and fragile democracies. Every new leader inherited massive deficits, but due to intense political instability, none of them had the political capital to actually cut spending. To keep the government running without relying entirely on the printing press, successive leaders began borrowing billions of dollars from foreign nations and the International Monetary Fund. Eventually, the debt payments became too large. When the government inevitably failed to pay back these foreign loans, international credit froze, forcing the nation to aggressively print money once again to survive. This feedback loop reached a terrifying peak in the late 1980s. Inflation hit thousands of percent, meaning everyday prices were literally doubling almost every single month. Workers would get their paychecks and physically sprint to the grocery store to buy basic pantry items, knowing that if they waited until the following morning, their cash would be entirely worthless. Deficit, debt, default, and hyperinflation locked together to form a mechanical, inescapable loop. This cycle became the permanent operating system for the entire country. The entire system collapsed spectacularly in 2001, when Argentina failed to make its payments and defaulted on roughly $100 billion of foreign debt, breaking global records at the time. Desperate to stop a massive bank run, the government completely froze the accounts of everyday citizens, locking them out of their life savings. Society fractured. Explosive riots broke out across the city streets of Buenos Aires, and the political system fell into such chaos that 5 different presidents were sworn into office over a span of just 2 weeks. Today, the geography at the Pampas remains just as fertile, yet Argentina is still trapped in the exact same loop, suffering from a bloated public sector, immense debt, and inflation rates that continuously wipe out the wealth of its citizens. The country stands as a stark macroeconomic warning. It proves that possessing immense natural wealth cannot save a nation if its political system repeatedly refuses to